Each and every week, we're excited to bring you the Broadway show. That's why I'm so glad you're here. I'm Tamsen Fadal. The revival of Stephen Sondheim's fairy tale musical Into the Woods just last week celebrated opening night bows and rave reviews. The show, featuring the who's who of top Broadway talent and massive stars, including singer-songwriter Sara Bareilles. Well, let's dive in, because this is exciting. You went from City Center to Broadway, had a little bit of downtime. How's it been?
Oh, it's like a freaking rock concert every night. It's amazing. I think the cast and the audience are both responding to this material in such a deep way. It really feels like a spiritual experience every night. It's amazing. It's truly amazing.
Talk a little bit about that, because Sondheim, and this is the first show really since his death. How do you think he would be responding to seeing this?
I hope we are making him proud. James Lapine, the book writer for Into the Woods and his longtime creative partner, shared with us that he felt like Steve would be sobbing in the seats, just loving this. There's not a lot of trappings going on stage other than the story and the music. The orchestra is front and center, and we just weave in and out. It feels very old-fashioned in a way to just have the storytellers kind of come on and they disappear, and we're bringing you on the ride. The audience is invited to be very imaginative. You got to fill in a lot of blanks.
It really is a dance, though. It's a dance. Is there one part of it that in particular that you like? I know you've been reunited with Gavin. You play opposite Brian Darcy James, Tina Zara. You got some incredible
heavy
talent.
hitters.
You really have some heavy hitters.
Well, this is a unique experience for me, because I only can relate it to Waitress, which is my only other experience on a Broadway stage. You know, that character, Jenna, doesn't really leave the stage. So this is a lot more about like baton passing. And there's something really fun, as someone who, I love that. I love a team sport. I love being, kind of nestled in with people. So the fact that we get to braid together this way is really beautiful. Of course, reuniting with Gavin is always delicious for me. He's one of my nearest and dearest outside of the theater, and we just have a very special chemistry on stage, I think. So, Baker's Wife scenes with the Prince is really fun. Brian is a complete dream. He's just, no wonder he's a Broadway legend. I didn't know him before this, and just like everybody else, fell in love with him. But we also have some Broadway newcomers. Julia Lester is our Little Red, and she is just bonkers amazing, and you're watching just all this imagination and creativity come to life. And I think it's just so cool that all of these characters get to really speak on the stage. Part of why this production is so fun is that people are really operating off of strong and wrong. You know what? Go for it, make some big choices, and you'll learn pretty quickly if they're the wrong ones.
What choice did you make with this one? Who's your Baker's Wife?
My Baker's Wife, in a lot of ways, was sort of built alongside Neil Patrick Harris, who was my baker at City Center for the Encore's production. Neil is very meticulous about, comedy and bits, and so I think like a lot of her comedy was sort of born in that space. She's just emerged as this really feisty, physical, messy woman. So I love that she's imperfect, and I can't help but relate her to Jenna in some ways, where it's like she's a good person who like makes mistakes, and I love the humanity of that.
Perfectly imperfect seems to summarize so many things. I think we all are, right?
Yeah, completely.
Girls 5 Evo, we have to talk about that. How has that changed your work as a performer, or has it? Do you look at things differently getting back on stage now?
It's like getting reps at the gym. Not like I go to the gym, but like it's, if I were to be a human who went to the gym, it's just like, you get to practice, and I get to practice alongside 3 and sometimes 5 women that are so loving, so generous, so funny, so smart. So I'm getting to just play. I'm getting to be playful, more and more playful. I think that's what's come from it.
What do you aim to do next? Is there something in particular you say, gosh, I would love to do that next, when I have a minute?
Yeah, I feel really called to write my next record. That's the thing that feels like it's sort of talking to me the loudest right now, is that it's time to sort of go inward and reflect on the last couple years and make something musical out of that.
How were the last few years for you?
Terrible. How were they for you?
Just even worse.
Just awful.
It did give me perspective.
Yeah.
It did let me know how I want to live my life.
I'm really struggling right now with cynicism. It's hard to look at the world and as someone who loves to love the world and not get a little infected with hopelessness. I work on that all the time, but yeah, my mental health really took a deep nosedive during this past time. I got on medication for the first time, which was incredibly helpful. And I was always very, very anti. So thank you, Lexapro, for helping me kind of return to myself.
I have 10 milligrams.
Yeah, yes, amen, amen. I'm really, and I talk about it openly a lot because I didn't realize how much stigma there still is about it. And even I was carrying that as well. It's a really hard time, and I don't want to become cynical. It's just not who I am, and it's hard to love the world sometimes right now.
I think it's interesting, though, if we sat here 3 years ago, I don't know that either one of us would have said that or admitted that or talked about it.
No way.
I don't know. I think it's interesting to see the raw and relatable part of ourselves and the vulnerability that we're able to show. And I think you, through being able to write, can show that in a whole other way where people can relate to it.
Yeah, that's the hope. The hope is that, it's coming through for a reason. So I'm trying to put it somewhere and just honor the fact that it's coming through it all. And life is not meant for me to figure out. Did you see these massive images of the
I know.
I mean, I'm just like, how tiny are we?
How am I relevant?
Yeah, completely. So let's just be in awe and wonder sometimes.